Hello everyone. The last topic or last chapter we are going to go through is chapter 5, and we want to talk about functions. So a key aspect of any programming language is the ability to define functions. So functions allow you to abstract certain operation or workflows, thereby breaking your program down into more manageable chunks that are easier to think about and implement correctly. So the basic syntax of the function is something like this. def function, let's say x1 to xn, and then it's going to be the first statement in the function body, and then the second one, and so on to the last one. Okay, so here if is the function name. So this is the function's name that we are going to define. And x1 to xn are the function's argument, and the indented statement are the function's body. So this part will be the function's body, and these are the arguments, right? Okay, so the result computed by a function is returned to the call site using the return keyword, and the function body always must be indented. Don't forget this. Okay, so we can go through the previous example, the temperature example, and create a function for that. So let's say Celsius is equal to a list of the number that are going to be from -10 to 40, and they are separated by just 4 units. So let's print this. Print C gives us these values, right? And now we can define a function with using def, and as I said, we can write down the name of the function. Let's say converter. So we are going to have the argument, which are the elements in C, right? And it's going to return the value 9/5 multiply C plus 32. And then now that we defined a function, for any value of C that we have in this list, we can extract the value of Fahrenheit, right? So how we do that? So let's see. Now if I run this cell, nothing happens until I say for C, I in C, print the Fahrenheit value, which is going to be str of the value we are going to get from inserting a value C into the function. So let's run this. Oops, what did I do? Can't multiply sequence by non-int type float. So what did I do? Oh, okay. So I'm going to fix this now. So what happens? For each element in C, we are going to insert in this element in the function, right? And then get the values, right? So I could make it like more detail and say Celsius is equal to str of I, again I'm doing the same mistake, plus Fahrenheit. So here we will see the Celsius and then Fahrenheit. So what happens, this is the way I'm going to get the output of function by inserting a value in this function and extracting the output. Okay, so then what else I can do, I can just use function and then insert like 12, right? And then see, this is the result of the calculation here, right? It's going to put 20 here, 12 here, and then it's going to calculate this and return this back. Okay, so we can also make a function, create a function with two variables like m and v, for example, and then we can say return 0.5 multiply m multiply to v power 2, and so we define the function, and then later we can say now print energy based on 3 and 4, for example. So here is a function that named energy with two arguments, m and v, and we returned a formula or value based on the formula that we defined here in this function. Okay, so the other example, let's see, for example, we can create a function that, let me define a function, for example, that doesn't have any argument. So this function just going to print some strings. So without even having the argument, as long as you have. So here you can define that a string function, right? And then whenever you want to say print the string function, you even don't need to enter any argument. It's going to just print something for you, right? Okay, so here the title is the function with no argument, just to print something, right? What else? Actually, what we can do at the end, we can say for I in range 4, for example, I is equal to a string function, and now print I. So let's see what happened. 4 times it's going to just print the same value, same string from the function. So it's going to assign the output of function to I, and then every time for I in 0 to 3, it's going to print this, means 4 times. If I remove this, you will see it's going to be printed 4 times, right? Okay, so let me bring a interesting example using functions. We can create a function that contains if condition. So we can define a KE movement function with M, V, and the, let's say T, and we say if T, when we say if T means if T is true. If T is true, do this. Return 0.5 multiply M multiply to V power 2, and then else return only M multiply V. So let's define this function, and then what we are going to do, we are going to say KE is equal to our function. So we need 3 arguments, right? Here, one time we say true, and then let's say 2 and 5. Then let's see what this is going to print out. You should know already, right? Because this is true, it's going to pass through this part of the function, and it's going to return this one, right? So it's going to multiply 0.5 to 2 multiply to 5 power 2. So at this point, M is equal to 2, V is equal to 5, and the last argument T is true, right? So now let's say MT is equal to, now this time I'm going to say the last argument is false, right? 2, 5. And then at this point, we are going to have M equal to, V equal 5, and T is false, right? So if T is false, it's going to only return M multiply V. And then let's print MT to see what happens. Yes, it's going to print the second part. Okay, so this was kind of the basic of function, and we can have a function that let's see, have more than even 2 arguments. So here we have 3 arguments, right? We can have a function that has multiple arguments, and then as long as when you want to use them, as long as you have all the argument, everything is fine. See, for example, if I want to use this and use this function, but I didn't enter the last argument, there will be an error here, and it's not letting me to get the answer from this function. It's going to give me error because the last argument is missing. It says missing T argument from this function. We can have a function also that returns multiple values. So far, so we had just one value being returned, right? Like this. So let's see how we can make it work. Define a KEMOM function with 2 arguments, and then now let's say the KE is equal to this one, MT is equal to just M multiplied to V. We can return both of these values that are going to be calculated and stored in this variable. So how this one works, let's see. Okay, so we run this. Now we can say value equal to for KEMOM of 3 and 2, print values. So as you see, it's going to return 2 outcomes. One is KE, another is empty. So KE is equal to the index 0 of values, and then MT is going to be index 1 of values. So print. So we are going to print KE, we are going to print empty. Okay, great. Okay, so these are all the basic of function, and then I will come back with another video for functions and with more examples also. Okay, let me know if you have any question, and I will see you in the next lecture.